So now I got a little update on this section. I can finally do the saucer section assembly now because I got the part in. The kit that I had was missing this part, and I had to contact Polar Lights, and you can see the envelope that it came in. And it took about, well, it took just about a little under a month for it to get here. And now that I got it, wire L, I can proceed and finish wiring the lower saucer section. I got to put the light into the lower sensor dome. Then I can proceed to wire the top and bring the top and bottom halves together. Then work on the decals. Okay, so L is in. The light is in the lower sensor dome of the bottom saucer section. It's wired into the slots. Everything's wired up, ready to go. And if you've seen the previous video, you know I tested everything and it's all ready to go. So now we can go ahead and we can complete step 4, which is the saucer assembly. My goodness, there's a lot of clamps required for this. To keep the top and the bottom halves together, I got 4 of the heavy-duty clamps for furniture repair and building, and it's not enough. The halves just don't want to stay together. I don't know if it's because of all the wiring inside and the paint and the primer, but what I'm going to have to do is, once it's done, I'm going to have to fill in the little lines. I'm going to have to retouch it up with the paint because that's really going to be noticeable. But other than that, they went together nicely, and it's all glued, and I'll let it set overnight just to make sure that it's really dried, and then I'll unclamp it, and then I'll put the decals on. Just to let you guys know, you can learn from my mistakes. I'm working from 3 sets of instructions, and what I did was, when I did the impulse engines, let me see if I can turn it around for you, I forgot to add the pieces of the photo etch that came for the impulse engines, so I can't put them in now because it's too late. But just to let you guys know, if you're going to do it, pay attention to all the sets of decals, because I got the lighting kit, I got the Polar Lights kit, I have the photo etch that came with the kit, well, the lighting set, the deluxe lighting set. I have the supplemental photo etch, so that's 4 sets of instructions, and there's an additional set of instructions for the weathering decals that are going to go on. So that's 5 sets of instructions that I've been following for this model project. And to be honest, it's taking a lot much more time than I thought it would, but it's getting there. And I'll give you an update when the clamps are off and I start to put on the weathering decals. Well, I unclamped it and it didn't stick. They just don't want to stay together. So what I'm going to probably have to do is get some super glue, because I've been using the Plastruct and it's not holding. So I'm going to try applying super glue around it and reclamping it. She just doesn't want to stay together. Okay, so let's try again. Instead of the glue that I used previously, I used crazy glue, and I just clamped it. Let's hope that works. This will be the second time that I glue it, so I'm hoping this works. And when I take the clamps off, it stays nice and solid. It doesn't separate. Okay, so what I had to do is I had to go ahead and tape all of the sides and get that area right where it's going to need to be painted. So hopefully that comes out nice. I'll show you guys what it looks like after it's painted. Okay, so I sprayed the areas that were exposed to get the paint to blend in. And there were some spots when I painted the halves, it just didn't take, or I missed. Hopefully, once this is all set, it's going to blend everything. It's going to blend the two halves together nicely. So, wait for it to dry and I'll give it another coat. Okay, so I went ahead, because I didn't like the gap that was, or the seam that was there where the top and the bottom halves of the saucer section met. So what I did was I went ahead and I filled it in with the acrylic, the Acryl Pro. It's tile adhesive, but I find that it dries nicely, it dries hard, and it's easy to sand. So when it's dry, I'll sand it down and then I'll repaint it. Alright, so the compound was dry, and what I did was I gave it a quick sand to make sure the edges were smooth. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a quick coat of paint. I'll probably put 2 coats on it, and when it's done, it'll be all set. It should be all set to put the decals on. Alright, so I had to go around the whole thing again, and what I did was I sanded it down really good to make it level and even all the way around. Those of you who made this model, you know this is kind of a pain in the butt, but hopefully it comes out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wash it off, get all the powder residue off, and then I'll paint it again. Okay, so I'm finally ready. I just put a little bit of the sealant on, and I'm going to apply the decals to the top and bottom of the saucer section. So I'll give you an update when that's complete. Okay, so it took a while, but I got all the decals on, the weathering decals, and I got the top and the bottom on. And this pretty much completes the saucer section. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the sealer on probably when it's all put together. I'll put a coat of sealer on it. I thought about putting a coat of sealer on it now, but I'll probably wait until it's all together, and then I'll put a final coat. But you can see the weathering decals, the rust ring, and it came out pretty cool. So it's all set, and I'm going to put on the primary hull pylon. and attach it. And she's starting to come together.